I knew for a fact, if I could overcome this, I could overcome anything. People who often lead other people never get asked, are they okay? Are you good? How are you? Don't worry about what nobody thinks about you. Don't let nobody judge you. If I could go back and tell myself anything, I would say, treat people right. No matter who you come in contact with, you treat everybody with love and respect, because you never know who you could be talking to.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Journey After podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Doherty, and today I'm here with a special guest that actually I went to high school with quite a while ago. His name is Percy Johnson. He is a basketball coach, heavily involved with the community, and just loves to pour into younger males in the basketball kind of area in life. Thank you so much for coming on today and being a guest. It's very exciting to connect after so long. Thank you for joining me today.
Most definitely, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so do you want to share just like a little bit about you, what else you are kind of into the past, I can't even think like how many years it's been. What year did you graduate?
17.
Oh my gosh, wait. Were we freshmen or were we in 8th grade?
You might have been a freshman, maybe.
I don't remember. Okay, wait. No, I would have been a freshman.
Yeah, freshman.
Okay, so graduation, like, what did you do? Where'd you go? Obviously, you're coaching basketball right now. I know you were heavily into basketball at that time in high school. Mm-hmm. So what kind of progressed after that? Like, did you go to school? Did you just work? What'd that look like for you?
So I actually went to go hoop in college at Pfeiffer University, which is in Salisbury, so maybe like an hour from Charlotte. And that's really just kind of where like the grind and everything happened. And then coming into my senior year, I ended up getting hurt. And so came home, and this was right after kind of COVID. So once COVID came, I actually came home for a while, then went back and got hurt. And mentally, I was just kind of really in a tough place. And so it was actually kind of funny. I was actually talking to one of my buddies about it. Maybe like a year or so went by. I didn't do anything basketball related. I just kind of came home, worked in a warehouse for a little bit, still trying to figure out things. And then one of my best friends called me and was like, man, you need to get back out there. You've been kind of gone. So I volunteered at an old coach of mine's at a clinic. And I just kind of fell in love with it after that. And then that's just kind of really how my whole coaching and training journey really started. So it's kind of led me to everything I am today.
That's awesome. So you got hurt in senior year of college.
Correct.
Because, I was like, I don't remember you being hurt in high school.
Yeah, no, I was always healthy. But
No, what is crazy is, like, all I can remember of you in high school was that, like, I feel like the girls in my grade, like a select, like, group of them, like, just, like, fanned over you. I remember going to like pep rallies or like games and stuff, and everyone just was like, he's the star. I don't know, I just remember everyone going up to you and talking to you, and I felt like you didn't even know who I was, to be honest. But because you guys are all upperclassmen and like
I'm gonna tell you something. So 2 things to that. The first thing was, I wouldn't necessarily say fanned out. I would probably just say I tried to be friends with everybody, try to make everybody feel included. But you probably don't even remember this, but I remember this vividly. We were at lunch one day, and I needed to borrow a fork, and you gave me a fork. And that was, like, our first, like, actual, like, interaction.
Wait, what?
I needed a fork.
I gave you a fork at lunch.
And you gave me a fork. I said, hey, does anybody have a fork? And, like, whatever, like, the little group you was in, you guys were, like, at a table kind of nearby where I was at, and you gave me a fork. And that was, like, our first, like...
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Because I'm sitting here thinking right now, and I think I was in 8th grade when you graduated.
No.
Who'd you graduate with?
Well, I graduated from Canton, but in my grade, I'm trying to think, who was in my grade?
Wait, what? You left?
Yeah, I left. You know that? I was only for 2 years.
What year did you leave?
I left after my junior year due to, like, some racial stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just remember there was a group of girls in my grade that would, like, cling towards you, take pictures with them, and, like,
I just always wanted to show love. That's it. That's really it. Just wanted to show love to everybody.
I felt like you were so popular. No, you definitely were.
I won't say popular. I just tried to like I said, I just wanted to make an impact in everybody. I ain't gonna lie. The time I was there, it was a lot of good people that I met. So I tried to create like that family culture, but it was fun having good people around.
Oh, no. I didn't think that it was a good experience for me, to be honest.
Why not?
I really struggled.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I ended up leaving after my sophomore year, um, due to just like getting like feeling very isolated. I didn't have a good group of friends. Like I was friends with people, but I
Yeah.
felt like they weren't my friend.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of the guys pick on me my last year there. And so I ended up leaving because I would leave school crying most days
Yeah.
and come home and just not want to go. Also, school was like really hard for me too. And it just like wasn't like my thing. And so everyone around me was like, hardcore grinding and like all this stuff. And I was like really struggling.
Really?
And I also had no idea, like, college wise, if I wanted to do that, where I'd go. Yeah, I just like didn't really fit in with my grade like at all. Like the last year I was there, to my sophomore year, like I remember the like homecoming dance happening or whatever, and all my friends had been asked, and I wanted to get asked so bad, like because I had only been asked to a dance once, and then like the rest of them, like I went by myself.
Yeah.
And all my friends always had dates, and I had a guy like prank me.
No.
And that's kind of what like set it off at the end. And so it was, yeah, just not it.
That's crazy.
But yeah, the only reason I stayed, I feel like, for the rest of that year was because I was heavily involved in Contain It.
Yeah.
And that last year, I was kind of like grinding it out, running that. And I loved it. I loved the teacher. I had actually gone out to South Dakota as a freshman. Like I was the only freshman accepted into that class, and like I just ran with it and I loved it.
Yeah.
And that was like my passion for going to school. But after that year, I was like, nah.
That was it. So where'd you go to after
Done.
that?
So after that, so it was 2019, I ended up doing dual enrollment, and that spring was 2020, COVID. All our classes became online, and I really struggled. So I ended up just kind of like knocking out everything that I could to graduate high school at the same time.
Right.
So I graduated, had like a decent amount of college credit. I had
Credits.
I had a decent amount of college credits, and just graduated early. And 2 weeks after I graduated is when I went and enrolled in hair school, and just did that during COVID for a year. Got my license, and
Yeah.
then for the past 5 years, I'd been doing hair. But yeah, I like left school. There's only a handful of people that I still talk to from there.
Yeah.
Like no like hard feelings towards anyone. I just didn't.
So you had to separate yourself.
There was like, I just never truly felt like I fit in there. I never had my group of people, like my actual group. Because I mean, most of the people have been there together since like kindergarten.
Yeah.
So it's like really hard to kind of like, I guess, fit in as an outsider when you come in. Like I came in at 7th grade.
Yeah.
So like I came in at like such a weird time that like, I don't know, it was hard to like form my
I
friend
definitely
group.
understand that.
But like again, like I said, like there's people that I still connect with, that I still talk to, especially like the older crowd of them. Like I really, gravitated toward a lot of those people, and so I have some really good friends from those people in those grades. But yeah, that was not my place. I did not thrive there, and I definitely was jealous like of a lot of people there too.
Yeah.
That like I felt like they always had like this amazing life, and
Right.
had everything going for them, and like I feel like you're a good example of that. But like you had a like successful kind of role with basketball. Like I mean, I don't really know what you were at like academically or anything, but yeah, I struggled. I really struggled. So I was very happy when high school was over,
I feel
and
that.
never went to college. I mean, I did do college classes like online and stuff for a while, but like it just like wasn't my thing. I love to write. I could write all day, but doing like math or science or stuff like that,
That wasn't it.
no.
You
So what
don't
did you
like it.
study in school?
So I actually started off studying. I wanted to go into like physical training, physical therapy. And then I realized halfway through my sophomore year, I really enjoy like working with kids and mentoring. I was doing a program while I was out there as well. So I switched it to education, and then kind of wanted to be a teacher for a little bit. And then that's just kind of how everything kind of dove into me giving back and training and coaching and things like that.
So you have a teaching degree?
Yes. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I would have never guessed that, but
See,
that's
it's low key. Nobody
no,
would
it
have
is.
ever.
But like, you should tell people that. That's cool.
It's all right.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. Well, this intro has gone really long. Hey, but that's okay. We're catching up. It's been
years.
I'm trying to think. 8?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen Percy in 8 years. That's crazy.
The reunitation is real.
What'd you say?
I said the reunion is real. I said reunitation. I don't think that's a word.
That is not a word.
I thought it was. I it sounded right in my
I don't
brain.
think it is.
Reunion. You seen that?
The reunion goes crazy. Okay, so what else like have you been up to? Like obviously like you know, have you been in relationships? Have you been like working on yourself, just grinding with the boys and like the basketball teams? Like what have the past like couple years been like for you? You know, are you still like, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of people that go to Christian school that aren't Christian, but like, you know, is God a part of your life? What does that look like? Like, who is Percy right now, and what has Percy been through?
Nah, for sure. Definitely been through a lot. Definitely been through my fair share of relationships, and definitely had to mature and grow, and just really just finding myself. I think that's really what the last 3-4 years have really been, just focusing on me, staying locked in, and just taking it just one day at a time, really. I'm definitely involved like in church. I definitely go to church. My whole family is like full of preachers and ministers and things like that. So I've been doing a better job of actually trying to go back to church on a more consistent basis. It's usually tough with like AAU tournaments and stuff like that when I'm going and I'm on the road, so I can't physically be there, but I try to watch it like, you know, online, and things like that. But really, I stay out the way. I just be chilling. I stay in my own lane, and I just like seeing other people happy. That makes me happy in life. Just seeing the ones that I care about, seeing people that I adore, seeing people that I love. Just as long as they're happy, then I'm happy.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I think like also being human though, when I see other people happy, I'm like, man, like
It's a blessing.
wish I had that.
Yeah.
No, but like I mean, I think it's great, but you know, I guess like selfishly I get jealous sometimes, wishing that, you know, I could be married, or I could be have a family, or things like this, or I could be super super successful in these areas or whatever. But obviously, yeah, like that's being a selfish human being. But yeah, no, it does make me like, I love to serve. Like I love to make people feel good. That's why I went into hair for a long time, because I loved making people feel beautiful. Like it was like, I loved being a day maker. That was like the thing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I get that. Yeah. And I think that's good. So like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like,
Talk to me.
I really swore you were in a relationship for a while.
Oh man, actually,
I mean, you still pop up on my socials.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we do follow each other.
Yeah. So like, what's that been like? Because like, you know, what past relationships, what have they been like for you?
Yeah.
Are they things that you're looking for again, or like what's something different you're going to be looking for? Like, what do you want? Like, do you have the desire to want to get married? Like, do you want a family? Do you feel called to singleness? Like, what is like, because obviously, yeah, you've been in some relationships, so, you know, why didn't they work out? Or like, what are you looking for?
Honestly, I feel like in the past, while majority of my relationships really didn't work out, was because I was the problem. Whether it be time management, me being too busy and not being able to make time, or me just being immature emotionally and not knowing how to express my feelings. But a lot
like,
of that.
Give examples. Like, that was very vague.
I mean, a lot of it is.
Shoot,
if
you
something,
came on here to talk, so
you're
let's
right.
talk.
You're right. I think a lot of it is anytime I felt something was wrong, or if I tried to voice my opinion on something, I always felt like it got shut down. So I always felt as if, okay, I'm just gonna let things linger and linger, until I get to my breaking point, and then that's when the lashing out, that's when the anger and everything comes out. So that was really something that I have been battling for years, even up to now, still learning how to communicate and say, hey, this is what's bothering me. Because I mean, me personally, me growing up in a single parent household, like I never had that father who could properly teach me and show me, this is how you talk to a woman, or this is, if something's going wrong, this is what you should say. So I kind of learned it on my own. Love my mom to death, but she can never teach me how to be a man. So just going through those experiences and having to grow up and be more mature is probably something that held me back. And looking back on it now, I would probably say I realized like I was really the problem. Most people would say, "Oh, this person's the problem." Like obviously, it wasn't all my fault, but I would say a good amount of it, like it was on me. I had to
Man,
grow up myself.
that's mature of you for real to,
Yeah,
accept that responsibility. So, okay, you said something that like struck something to me. So, growing up, you only grew up with your mother.
yeah.
You
My
know,
mom and my brother.
what was that like? Was, your father ever a part of the picture?
No. So vulnerable moment. Like my dad was in federal prison growing up. So ever since I was 6 months old, that's when he first got incarcerated. So it was never no father in the house. A lot of my father figures were like my grandfather, my uncles, all my coaches, good people that my mom kept me around, when I wasn't around her. So, but at the same time, while having that, it was still tough not having an actual father in the household, because at the end of the day, my mom was playing two roles, mother and father. And obviously, her being a woman, she couldn't obviously teach me certain things about how to be a man. So I just kind of had to figure it out on my own. But I definitely learned, even in those things, that at the end of the day, it's just about treating people right and doing the right thing.
So, growing up, like through, as a grade student, going through elementary school, middle school, high school, what was that like for you? Were there times where, you questioned things because you needed to seek guidance from like a father figure, or like was it hard being around other people that did have those families? Like what was that like, and did you ever kind of like lash out because of that? Did you ever kind of rebel or like get angry at, God, yourself, things in life, when you hit like milestones or bumps that would have been beneficial to have a dad there?
Yeah, most definitely. I'll probably say in high school. So when you were talking about your struggles, the things that you went through, that's really some of the things that I was going through, but from a deeper perspective. Like everybody saw the smile that I always put on me playing basketball. It was all fun. It was nice. But socially, I struggled because I know for me, it was only me and one other African American person in the high school. A lot of people don't know that. So I was going through so much socially, where people judging me, people giving me weird looks every day, because I'm just an outgoing person. I'm chill and laid back, but I like for everybody to feel loved and adored. So my personality was, I guess, some people said it was too much. So I struggled with that, and then even dealing with some of the teachers there at the time who kind of misread me or made a lot of assumptions that weren't really true. So in that, it taught me a lot how to really be level headed and not respond to everything. But the breaking point for me was when my junior year, I'll never forget my junior year, it was right after basketball season had just ended. And I had planned on coming back my senior year, even though I had endured a lot. I told my mom, like, I'm coming back. This is what it is. Well, around maybe like Easter and around that time, there was actually a note in my locker that said, that left a very vulgar message, basically calling me out of my name and basically saying that I don't belong at the school. And that was like it for me. I remember I shut my locker, and the crazy part was I know who did it, because this guy, he was just bothering me all year. But I know who did it. But I kind of lashed out. I'm not gonna lie, I lashed out in the hallway. I just couldn't take it no more, and so had a meeting with the principal and the headmaster, and my mom came, and I just told them like, this is it. I wasn't coming back, but I wanted them to understand, just because I'm different, it doesn't mean that you guys are, or these group of people are necessarily better than me.
When you
But
say different, what do you mean by that?
like my race and where I come from. Like a lot of my friends who are some I still talk to this day, like, they came from two parent homes, good situations, good financial situations. And me being completely honest, it was just a single parent home. I lived on kind of a tougher side of Charlotte, and I lived in a cul-de-sac where, the best things weren't going on, like
Yeah.
going around, so I had to, be able to flip that switch from being professional than going back home into a tougher environment. But I always used to tell people it doesn't make you guys better than me. It's just you guys are in a better situation right now. But I'm gonna use this as motivation and fuel. So one day when I have a family or anything, I'm gonna put my kids in the best situation. And I just think in that time period, they didn't do a good job educating a lot of those kids about people coming from different backgrounds who look different, who act different, and just more accepted. Now, from what I've seen, I know the school is way more diverse now. But I was able to go through that, and they were able to see, okay, this is what goes on, this is what it is. So, I mean, it made me who I am today, and I've been able to be in environments where I've been a minority and not feel awkward or feel out of place.
Wow. I honestly like never even thought of it from that perspective, but like I just remember there not being a whole ton of diversity in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that always kind of being a problem. But, obviously, like, I can't put myself in your shoes to know and understand truly what that felt like and what that was. But, yeah, I mean, I think that is extremely important to, like, educate about and to talk about. And I hate that somebody did that. But, like, sadly, it, like, doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
From coming from people that I knew there. Like, it just people are cruel, like
Yeah.
truly. And I mean, they're cruel everywhere. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just there. But yeah, people are hateful and mean and aggressive for no reason about something. But I think it definitely shows a lot of strength on your side to be able to continue to show up, to smile, to love, to, be able to go back and forth from two very drastically different places.
Most definitely.
And, I'm sure that must have taken a toll on you as well. Like, I can imagine that it drained you.
Yeah, it did. But I will say, me playing sport, especially being on a basketball court, that was my safe place.
Yeah.
Where I knew for a fact this is where I belong. Nobody out here can take away belongs to me. So that was kind of like where the aggression and the fire kind of came from, and that's where I felt like, in that time being, I felt like that was my safe place, my sanctuary, where I could just be myself for the next 2 hours before I got to come to school for the next 8 hours the next day and channel this all in. So it definitely humbled me, but it definitely made me who I am today.
Yeah. So going back and forth between those places, like, obviously, you only went to for like a few years.
Yeah, 2 years.
So, and
yeah,
then
my sophomore,
before
junior year.
that, where were you? And then afterwards, you said you went to Cannon, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
my freshman year of high school, I went to Christian school. And then they went through a whole coaching change, and literally all of my teammates transferred. So I was like, dang, I don't want to be here alone. So then, so one of my principals from elementary school knew the headmaster and so she provided me that opportunity. I met with the headmaster, and they basically, in reality, they really gave me like a scholarship to really go to. And so that's kind of how that situation kind of came in. But thankfully, before I even got accepted into the school, I was able to take a tour. I was able to sit down and talk to some people. And, I was a little uneasy at first, but I told my mom, this is what life is about. It's about facing challenges. And I told her, whatever comes, I'm ready for it. I know
Yeah.
mentally I'm ready for it. And so that's kind of how I came in. But when I came in, it was a little bit different because, like, I didn't come in. Most people come in kind of shy. I came in with welcoming with open arms, like, hey everybody, I'm Percy. I'm happy to be here. That's just kind of how it was. So it kind of threw a lot of people for like a win. They were like, oh, why is he coming in? So some people said it was cockiness. Some people said it was arrogance. But my mom always raised me to be confident in any
Yeah.
arena that you go in. No matter where you, in this place, that place, you always be confident. You walk in, you look people in the eye, you shake their hands. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. So that's just kind of how I was raised. So I didn't come in afraid, and I was able to sustain 2 good years there, on the court. Academically, it was fine. But yeah, I just went through certain things. But like I said, that breaking point for me was just after that, okay, I don't want to be anywhere where I feel tolerated. I just want to be somewhere where I'm wanted. So then that led to my senior year. And a lot of my teammates that I played with, all right. And I knew the coach over there, and it was closer to home. So that's just kind of why I felt like, okay, this is where I'm going to close out my high school chapter.
Wow. Man, you bounced around a lot from schools.
I did.
I feel like that would have been really hard in itself as
Yeah.
well. I kind of did that too.
Mm-hmm.
But, and it was rough, but you know, life's hard.
Life is hard. You got to get through it though. That's it. One day at a time.
So I know you had mentioned you had your father hasn't been in the picture your entire life. Have you ever met him, or is that like something you just never wanted to do?
Yeah. So he was in the first time I met my dad. I was 13 years old. He was in federal prison in West Virginia. So, um, I mean, up until that point, we were like, you know how they do like the little automatic phone call from prison, and they call and say, you know, so we would talk through the phone, but it wasn't, you know, it was just you talking to a stranger basically. So the first time I met him, we took a drive up to West Virginia. Yeah, I was 13, and it was like seeing a ghost, you know. But we sat down, we talked for like 3 hours. Everything was great, you know. Fast forward, I turned my 21st birthday. I had turned 21, and he called, and he literally got out the week after. So he came home. I guess he had good behavior, so he was able to come home early. And you know, when he first came home, you know, I said, you know what, I want to do something nice for you. I took him to a nice dinner. You know what I'm saying? Make sure he was good. And so we were fine up until that point. And then I want to say around maybe a year, maybe like a year or two ago, um, it's just kind of where we kind of had like a rocky shift. I felt like I was always reaching out, but I mean, I told him, I said, listen, I'm older now. Like I made it this far. Only way I want you in my life is if you want to be in my life. If you choose to say, hey, I want to do my own thing, I'm not going to lose sleep at night, but just, you know, let's just figure it out. And he came to me, he said, you know, I want to, you know, build a relationship. And I was cool with that. And then once I saw it kind of became more one sided, I was just like, okay, I just kind of took a step back. And so that's kind of where I've been at ever since. Now, I do have other siblings, like from my dad. I have an older sister who is 34, and I have a younger sister who just turned 5. So, you know, I try to keep in contact with my siblings as much as possible. But, you know, the door is always open, you know, but I do stand on what I mean. And what I mean is, you know, I'm not going to beg anybody to be in my life. If you want to be around, you can. If not, I'm not going to lose sleep. I always love them. Never know love lost. But, I mean, I'm grown now. I can't really worry about if daddy's coming home or not at night. I refuse to worry about it.
Oh yeah. No, wow. I can't imagine. Um, so obviously you've had a very long journey growing up of very different things, some beautiful blessings, a lot of hardships. Was there ever a point in that where you blamed God?
Yeah, most definitely. I used to, especially when I'm not gonna lie, when I was in college, and then when I first got done with college, it was like everything that was happening to me, I used to flip it. Like, why is this happening? And I used to get so angry and I was so upset. I used to question God all the time. And then I'm not gonna lie to you, this what really made me know God was really real. Like I knew, but like this was my personal testament. My grandmother called me one day. She never calls me out the blue. Like she literally called me middle of the day, and she was like, "Hey, I've been praying for you," but she was like, "The real reason why I called is because you need to take accountability for your actions." And that's all the conversation was. And I knew that was basically God speaking through my grandmother, like, you need to get it together. Stop making excuses. Just get to it, get back to it, lock in, and it's on you. And that was the moment for me. That's when I knew. And then at that time, I was going through a tough place, like mentally. I would probably say like I had just stopped working. I had lost my car. I had got into a car accident, so my car was totaled. And I actually crashed at a friend's house at this point. Like I was just all over the place mentally. And so if it wasn't for that and my grandmother making that phone call and some of my closest friends encouraging me, I don't know where I'd be at today. You know, and so for me to go through that, I knew for a fact if I could overcome this, I could overcome anything. And so the person that you're looking at today is a changed person mentally, and I'm just glad to be here. Really, I thank God for that every day. I'm really glad to be alive and be able to do what I do.
Yeah. No, I think it's funny that we always blame God for, the bad things in our life that kind of happened because of what we chose. For a while after what I've gone through, I got asked the question a lot, like, do you blame God for this? Like, do you feel like God's punishing you? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, I found myself angry as well, constantly questioning, like, why is this happening to me? Why do I have to feel this pain? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to, all these things, like,
Right.
why? And, one day I really just sat there with it, and I was like, you know, every action that we have, that we take, anything that I say, anything that I do, no matter if it's like good or bad,
Right.
like there's always going to be a reaction to it. There's
Most
going to
definitely.
be, a blessing. There's going to be a consequence. And, being sinful human beings, when I choose to do something that is against God's perfect will, yeah, there's going to be a worldly consequence for that. And so in my life, me choosing to find myself with a guy that I was not married to and getting pregnant, obviously, like, my pregnancy, my son, was not like a consequence. It wasn't a sin, but the act of me getting pregnant was. And so in result to that, I had to make a really hard decision down the road that could realign me with God's will for my life.
Right.
And that was hard and that sucks. But again, like, every action's going to have a consequence or a
Most
blessing at the
definitely.
end of the road, depending on what action we choose.
Yeah.
And we will be so quick to blame God, because it's easy to blame something
Right.
that, isn't right there in front of us. We can just be like, oh, it was their fault,
Exactly.
or blame the other person. But when in reality, we have the free will to make every choice, to say whatever we want, to do whatever we want. And that's like on us.
Right.
But until you can get the strength and like humble yourself to
Exactly.
take that responsibility, you're always going to blame somebody else,
Always
whether
do.
it's God or somebody else in your life. You'll never be able to strongly stand up and say, like, no, like, that was me.
Most
And
definitely.
until I could finally do that and be like, no, like, I made that choice, God didn't make it for me. God would have never made it for me.
Right.
That I will live now with pain, and grief and loss. But, I also know that that's temporary on this earth, because, we're not promised a perfect, easy life here.
Right.
But once we accept Jesus, like, we have that in eternity. And, that's what I cling to when I think about blaming or, getting upset about that or getting angry. Because again, like, everybody has their own journey. Like,
Right.
that's the whole reason why, like, I love doing this, is
Yeah.
because, my journey's unique. Your journey's unique. Like, we all have these lives where every single day we're continuing to walk down a path, and we can either be walking down a path that aligns with the Lord's will, or we're walking down a path that, leads us to the world.
Exactly.
And there's a whole shift in that. And, like, this is my example of sharing, like, my journey after that. And I don't know, I think it's just so beautiful, because everybody has a testimony, and it's one thing the world can never change or take away.
Yeah.
And because, like, I could never sit there and contradict you on your testimony, just
Right.
like you could never contradict me on mine, because it's something God personally gave each of us. And I don't know, I love hearing other people's stories, because, like, it's just so, like, amazing to me to see how God works in just so many different ways. And obviously we've had two very different lives,
Right.
and we've gone through two very different things in situations, all the things, but we still can both come back to, like, the one foundation that has brought us to where we are and made us to who we have become.
Right.
And I just think, like, that's so beautiful and so special.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think your story is just so amazing, and I would have never been able to, truly understand that or even expect that until you shared that. And so, I don't know, your vulnerability is appreciated. But yeah, because, like, I never would have known any of that.
Yeah. I think, like, you just go through life stories. But I will say, and I don't say too much, but, like, I keep up with everything you got going. And I know we communicated a little bit, like, when you were doing hair heavily and I was checking in and things like that. But you came a long way. So you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
For
Well,
real,
that
you
means
should
a
be
lot.
proud of yourself.
But I guess one thing of me asking you some of those questions about your father too is, like, I'm not sure how much you fully understand, like with my son, but obviously, like he was adopted,
Right.
and so being a birth mom means like I placed him directly to a family unit with a mom and a dad. And I wanted them to love and honor the Lord, which they do. And so that was super important for me because I wanted my son to grow up in a stable, godly household with two parents that loved each other, loved him, and loved Jesus. And obviously, I wish that that could have been you too. But obviously, you're the man you are today because of what God has walked you through.
Most definitely.
And so, you know, every decision in that is hard. Like God writes paths for everybody differently. We don't know why,
Right.
but you know, I struggled a lot with my decision in that area.
Are you okay mentally? I don't know if nobody asked you that, but I genuinely just be, because I know, like I said, I've watched a lot of your content. I know you've spoken about it, but I guess my question to you is like mentally, like, are you okay? Because I know you help a lot of people every day. You probably don't know that, but you inspire a lot of people. But I know people who often lead other people never get asked, are they okay? Are you good? How are you? So my question to you is, are you okay mentally?
I think being okay is a journey. I think this healing process is going to be forever, at least here.
Yeah.
You know, there's some days where I wake up and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. And then there's other days when I know that I need to.
Right.
And that God gave me this testimony for a reason, and it would
Right.
be selfish of me not to share it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there will always be other women that find themselves in the position that I found myself in.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can just encourage one woman out of that group to choose life for their baby, no matter if they choose to parent or become a birth mom, like that changes everything and that means everything.
Right.
And so I'm okay. I think, yeah, like I said, every day is different.
Yeah.
And this journey is really hard for me. It is very painful. It's a grief that really has no words.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I will be okay. And, you know, something that I told myself my entire pregnancy was, you know, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And that verse got me through some of the hardest weeks, days, hours, minutes of my life. And, you know, I wouldn't be here without God's strength. Like, none of it was my own. And it was hard. And it still is, like I said, especially like my son's a year old now.
Yeah.
And so that's hard as well, to know that he's growing up. And that I've, you know, missed milestones. I've, you know, missed certain things, but I also know that he is happy, healthy, and safe, and is going to grow up knowing Jesus. And I pray more than anything that he grows to know him and love him. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Not many people ask me that.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Like, I have my close friends that will check in on me, and I love
Good.
that and appreciate that. I think it's just hard sometimes to talk about it, because I also know when I do talk about it, no one will really understand it unless they've been through it. So, like, when I
Exactly.
talk to other birth moms, like, I know that they can understand
Right, because they've been
exactly
through it.
where I am. But especially like at my age, there's not a lot of people around my age that can say like, oh, hey, I've been through that. I know what that
Right.
feels like. And so it is very isolating to be 23 and to be a birth mom and to have a baby, but not parent him, and then be
Right.
around a lot of other people that just graduated college or are still in college, or, you know, just started working or traveling and like all this stuff, and just don't really understand. So I will say that is a really hard part of it, is I feel like I am literally like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And I just feel very like, I don't know. So yeah, that's a hard part of it.
Hmm.
But I am also grateful for going through all this because it is what led me to find Jesus again in my life.
Right.
And obviously that is still an everyday journey. But that my son, having him becoming his birth mom, is what changed my life.
Yeah.
And for that, I am forever grateful. Obviously, the pain and the grief sucks.
Yeah.
And no one asks for that. But again, we live in a world that's full of sin and hurt and pain. And the one thing that I remind myself and that God promises us is that this is so temporary once we choose to follow him.
Right.
So, it's my journey after. But
Day by day. Shit, one day at a time.
yeah. So we're going to start wrapping up because it's getting long. But Percy shared so many amazing things about himself, about his journey of his life and everything. And so what is your go-to advice that if you could tell yourself in your younger shoes, if you could tell somebody else, finds himself in the positions or situations or areas of life that you were in, if you could look back on that, what would you tell somebody?
I would say this: be yourself. Don't worry about what nobody thinks about you. Don't let nobody judge you. Who cares what people say behind your back? As long as you know the truth, be yourself. Love yourself. Never chase validation. If you know you're doing what you're supposed to do, everything is going to work out. Don't worry about the outside noise. Just focus on you, and what's for you will come to you in due time.
Wow. I love that. That was great. That was
Simple
really
to the
great.
point.
Man, you just left me speechless. That was really good.
Appreciate that.
So then one more thingy of advice. Okay, if obviously I feel like you stayed true to you a lot of your life.
Most definitely.
So what is something you wish you could go back in time and tell yourself?
Great question. If I could go back and tell myself something,
And it can't be 2 or 3 years ago. It's got to be
but yeah,
a
younger
hot
self,
minute.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If I could go back and tell myself anything, I would say treat people right. That's it. I've learned so much in today's world is if you just do right by people, good things will come to you. Whenever the time frame is. But as long as I would say, yeah, just treat people right and do right. I wish I could go back and change certain ways that I treated certain people or said certain things. I would definitely go back and reverse what I said. And I'm learning that every day that it's important to, no matter who you come in contact with, you treat everybody with love and respect because you never know who you could be talking to,
Yeah.
And I feel like in today's world, people judge a book by its cover. And so I saw a saying the other day that I stick by, and it's, you never know who you're talking to because you never know who they'll grow up to be. So you always treat everybody with respect because you may need that person one day. So
Yeah.
that's my mindset every day.
Wow. That's good too. That's really good. Well, if you guys are men that like to play basketball, go check Percy out. Go learn from his coaching skills. I don't really know. I'm just kind of making this up as I go. Do you coach a team around here or something?
I do. So I have an AAU team called Team Hustle. So we're pretty known around the map, been going around all over the country. We actually went to Orlando and won our national tournament. So we won nationals, finished first out of over 300 teams.
Oh, wow.
So
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, go check that out if you want to go learn to play some hoops. Go check him out. His information will be listed in the description. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Continue to subscribe, share, fill out a guest form. Also, if you're interested in interning, I also just made a post about that. I would love to have you. I have an amazing intern editor right now who is awesome and has some amazing talent. So if you're interested in that, definitely shoot me a message through my website. There's a couple forms on there. But yeah, if you want to be a guest like Percy, come fill that out. I would love to have you on. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. It was really cool to connect again after like 8 years.
Of course.
I feel like we've always been like phone friends, like through social media, just like keeping up with people.
Most definitely.
But it was really cool to have you in today to share some amazing things about your life, what you've been through, now where you're heading. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. God is definitely working in your life, and it is beautiful to see that, and it is such a reflection of God's love that you just shine everywhere where you go. So I know that so many people are grateful for what you do in the community, and the love that you put onto those boys is such a blessing. And so thank you for that. Thank you for coming on here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I just love that. As always, it is not about where you've been, but where you're headed and your journey after. Thanks for watching. Love ya. Bye. There's gonna be bloopers, by the way.
I'm looking forward to seeing them all.
Bruh. Don't look at me like that. You're making me nervous.
Eye contact.